I've been looking forward to this for about a year. Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is Slow Crochet. As I record, it is the day before the first kickoff day of the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival, which is happening in March of 2025. Now, I went to this Fiber Festival, say that 5 times fast, Fiber Festival last year. I have a video about it. I'll have that linked below, but I had a wonderful time and I'm so excited to get to go back. Now, truth be told, I did buy some things at that Fiber Festival with full intentions of using them and making things. And I have at least one of those skeins caked up, but I haven't made anything with it yet. So I have this little bit of tension of like, should I buy more? And then it's just going to sit on my shelf for a year. I feel a little weird about that, but not too weird because I do have intentions of actually making it. And I am pretty good with actually following through with the promises that I make to myself. I'm one of those weird people that like, yeah, once I have it figured out, I'm like, I know I'll get to it. It will be done. It's just a matter of when. There's only so many hours in the day. And speaking of hours in the day, tomorrow is going to be an early one. I am going to head out to Dickson County to a coffee shop. I'm going to meet up with a friend. I've met up with her. You've seen her on the channel before. And if you don't already know her, her name is Miss Janna-Kay of Faith Flourish Fiber or whatever. Triple F Threat. I'm going to have her channel linked below, but she and I have met up for several different things in the past. I've taken her to some local yarn shops, but she has not been to this Fiber Festival before, and so I'm excited to get to share that with her. I do have a little gift for her and also my favorite yarny thrift store. It's really a crafty thrift store, but they're going to be represented there. So I have gone through my stash and I've pulled out quite a few things that I want to donate. Now, some of these things are like clearance skeins from Hobby Lobby, things like that. I even have a skein of the yarn that I used from like the Bag O' Day shawl. I can have that video linked below if you're interested. But I've been kind of going through my yarn and trying to think of what are the things that I'm just not as likely to pull from. And if I donate those to a good cause to this thrift store that benefits adults with special needs, then someone else in our yarny community will be able to find them and be excited and get some creative juices going and hopefully be able to use those and give those a home rather than them just sitting on my shelf for another while. So I have 4 kind of Christmassy birthday size bags of yarn there. If Miss Janna-Kay wants any of those, she's welcome to pick through it before I donate, of course. But that's one big thing. The other big thing is I'm actually bringing 3 hanks of yarn that I want to kind of try to find some matches for. So what I learned about the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival last year is it's not just hand dyers, it's also farmers from the area. So there might be fleeces that are brought in. There might be some fibers for spinning. You might also have people that dye like silks or like upcycle different fabrics, things like that. There might even be some painters that use fiber or like fiber themes in their work, or even some potters, maybe making some beautiful yarn bowls, things of that nature. So I'll keep an eye out for that too. But there's also, I think, like a yarn truck, maybe 1 or 2 of those that travel around the country, and they might get things from different dyers and bring those in. So it's not necessarily just hand dyers themselves, but there's such a wide variety. So it could even be kind of like a local yarn shop on wheels, or like some booths that have more local yarn shop type yarns. So in that sense, I could find some things that go along with some of these hanks that I've just had sitting around and waiting for just the right accompaniment. So what I'm going to bring, number 1, I do have a little bit of this Queensland Rainbow Beach. Actually, the shawl that I made last year, or that I wore to the Fiber Festival last year, was made out of this. And so I was thinking it would be nice to find another complementary either color of this or something to go along with it to do a color work project and maybe do like a scarf or a cowl or something like that for me. I like these kind of bluish colors, these kind of denim-y colors. So that is something I'm going to bring just to see if I can reference, and compare and contrast. Another thing that I'm going to bring is one of these skeins of single lot Malabrego Rios. I want to get one more of a complementary color to this, maybe like an aqua blue, maybe like the color I'm wearing now, maybe just like a creamy white. I want to remake the Lark's Foot Stitch sweater vest that I made using Rios, and I made it in such a way that it would be really hard to go and unpick everything and add more length to it. But I would be happy to remake it using that as kind of my design template and do like, I have 2 of this color, and so if I add in a third, then I'll have enough to kind of give it some balance. And anyway, I want to look to see if anyone just happens to have any Malabrigo Rios, because that is a possibility. And then finally, I have this gorgeous hank of Miss Babs Killington, which is a DK weight yarn. Really beautiful color with that kind of Sully. It's like Sully from Monsters, Inc., that movie. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. And I want to see if I can find anything to go along with this. This was a purchase that I made from a local yarn shop that I actually haven't featured here on this channel. Yet another one in Nashville. But I would like a little bit extra, maybe again like a cream or a neutral to go with this, so I can really feature this in a color work project. That's something that I want to move into. If I'm going to do small pieces, if I'm going to do lighter weight yarns, let's make those beautiful colors stretch a little bit further with some subtle color work within it. So that's one goal for me as well. I do want to look for some yarn specifically for my swap partner in my 6 shawl swap exploration collaboration thing. I have the colors and I have the pattern in mind and the yardage of what I want to do for my swap partner, but I'm going to take a look at the Fiberfest and hopefully find some wonderful yarn for her. So those are my big goals. Also, just enjoy the time. It's not very often that I get time to just indulge in yarniness. So often I am working with family and volunteering and all these different things. And so to just be able to focus on what makes my heart come alive is going to be a joy. And even the drive out there, getting to be alone in my car and listen to my music or just have silence or whatever it is. Anyway, I'm super excited. So let me go ahead. Y'all listen to me ramble long enough. Let me just get you there and I'll show you all about it. All right, so we have made it through Nashville traffic. We are in Dickson, Tennessee, small town, and we are over at Just Love Coffee, and that is where I'm going to meet up with Miss Janna-Kay. I'm going to dash in there. I am here maybe 20 minutes earlier than I thought I would need to be, but you never can tell with traffic sometimes, and so Nashville in particular can be a little touch and go. You never know. It's like you wait 5 minutes and then you end up having to sit in traffic for an extra 30. So anyway, I'm here early. The festival itself doesn't actually start until 9 o'clock, but it's only like 5 minutes around the corner from here. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna enjoy a little bit of time together, and I will catch up with you when we actually go on to the festival. Well, folks, that is a wrap for me for the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival in 2025. I have my purchases. I'm gonna get back on the road, head back home. I will show you what I got. I'm back. That was a wonderful trip. I'm so thankful that I got to go. I'm so thankful I got to spend some time with Miss Janna-Kay. So yes, I got some things from the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival, but let me just go over a few little things real quickly. Like number one, I saw Mr. J of Gussie Bag Company, but I was gonna go say hi to him and then I decided not to. And I think I'm glad that I didn't, because I could have stood there and talked to him for a very long time, and I had to make sure that I left by a certain time. So we got there right after 9, right after it opened, and left around noon. And it takes maybe 30, 45 minutes to an hour to get back to Nashville where I live. And so I had an appointment on my side of town, so I had to make sure I left around noon. So if I had visited with Mr. J, it would have taken a whole lot longer. And I also realized as it got to about 11:30, man, it's so overstimulating, overwhelming. There's so much to see. There's people around. And I was just having a hard time putting words together, which is probably more to do with being an introvert. Thankfully, since we went on the very first day, when it first opened there at 9 o'clock on the Friday, not the Saturday, it wasn't super crowded. It was busy, but I wouldn't say it was crowded. So that is really nice. When we walked in, we went in the first building and saw that there were some workshops happening. There were some spinning workshops, some needle felting workshops, and others happening. And that was one of the really beautiful things about this fiber festival. It's not just knitters. It's not just hand-dyed yarn. It is fleeces. It is farmers. It's people that do lots of different things that have to do with fiber. And that really was a joy. Now, one of the things that is a little different this year is that actually next weekend, it is the first Nashville Yarn Fiber Festival thing. I don't remember exactly what it's called. And it's actually happening in Nashville proper at the Nashville Fairgrounds. And I decided for practical reasons not to go to that one. It's going to be a much larger event, like 80 plus vendors, but there's also a ticket admission cost and there's also a parking cost. And I thought I would rather my money go to some vendors rather than to parking. I anticipate that maybe that's going to get a lot more people. Since you do have to travel outside of a main city to get to the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival, but Nashville itself is a pretty touristy place, so you could make it like a weekend trip. You could do, I don't know, a girls' trip. There's a lot of bachelorette parties that happen over here, and so you could come to do the Fiber Festival and also hit a lot of the touristy spots too and enjoy that. So that's really not my scene as a local. So I think I made the absolute best choice in going out in the country and really even enjoying the drive, like just being able to drive and not have to talk to anyone in the car and getting to listen to what I wanted to listen to and just enjoy that space and that peace. You know, there's parts of me that wish I could be a little bit more of a small town girl, but it is what it is right now. As you can see, I did get some purchases. I did have a lot of fun talking with Miss Janna-Kay as we walked around and just seeing what she was interested in and what I was drawn to. And I kind of had my goals that I wanted to meet, and I did not meet hardly any of them, but that's okay. We'll get to that in a minute. And then she and I got to talk some too and just kind of compare notes on which colors went well with each other and what we were thinking. And So it was really fun this year to have like a shopping buddy with me, someone who is also just enjoyable to be around. So thank you, Miss Janna-Kay, for meeting me out there. I had a great time with you. So one of my goals was to get some hanks that would kind of coordinate with some yarn that I already have. So things that I did not get. I did not get anything to coordinate with my Queensland Rainbow Beach, but that's okay. I mean, this could be a standalone, or this could go with white. It'll be all right. I did not get anything to go along with my Malabrigo Rios. Now, I was tempted. There was a display there, but actually, to be honest, when I looked at the prices of the Malabrigo Rios, I realized that one of my local yarn shops has Malabrigo Rios at a better price. So I thought, you know what, if I'm gonna just need one hank, I might as well just keep it local to me. And that's a purchase that I just decided I can wait and go to that local yarn shop at some point in the future when I'm ready to use this. Another thing though, my third hank that I brought, I actually was able to find something to go with it. And so the challenge was that even though this particular yarn, this Killington, is labeled as a DK, I think it's like on the thinner side of a DK, it's more of a sport weight. And so one of the things that came up time and time again was how much fingering and sock weight yarn was available, but not very much of other weights. There were some DK weights, there was some worsted weights, but mostly it was fingering. And so I looked and looked and looked and really was comparing the yardage and the meterage and the grams and the ounces, all that kind of stuff, because I wanted something to really match the weight of this. And finally, almost on a whim, I looked over and I saw that there was deep dyed yarns, and she did have hanks in lots of different weights of yarn, and she had those listed pretty easily, so I could read that and figure it out and see exactly what the meterage and the yardage was and what the ounces was. So happily, I chose this gorgeous, the color she said is Midnight, gorgeous hank of a sport weight yarn. So those two are going to go together in a color work project, and I think they're going to set each other off really well. This one is a little bit less yardage than this one, but that's okay too. Depending on the project, I think I still want this one to be more of my base, and this one is going to pop a little bit more. But I get to at least know that these are going to go together, and I think they're going to work up really beautifully. It's a good balance of the two. So I'm very happy to have a match for this one, and they're both equally special and both have some special memories attached to them. I did get one other yarn, and this comes from Sparkle Studio, thatsparklestudio.com. And so they had different yarns from different purveyors in kind of different areas. The one that caught my eye was this color, and this is one of, I think, what I would love it to be as a signature color of mine. This color of blue is it's such a good color for me. I love it. It's always looked good on me, and it's that kind of lighter periwinkle shade. This is Fire Song Bedford. It's hand dyed 100% superwash merino from Coleman, Alabama, and there's some information for y'all there. I just got the one hank. It is a DK weight yarn, 4 ounces or 260 yards. And this was a $30 hank, which is great for what it is, especially at a fiber festival. This I decided is going to be a cowl. There's one that I made with another hand-dyed yarn from like a local yarn shop that's no longer in business. And as beautiful as that is, I love the stitch pattern, but I think I'll make another one in just this color, and I think it's going to be a real joy to wear. So that's why this one came home with me as well. Now, I did get some things other than yarn. So there were 2 different yarn buses. One of them was the Yarn Yogi, I believe. The other was the Yarn Adventure Truck. And that one had some really adorable stickers that I thought would be fun to bring home. One of them is a possum with a ball of yarn. So it's like the possum and the moon is kind of like a ball of yarn. This one is going to a very special person in my life who loves possums. I don't think that person watches my videos, but if they do, you're getting this in the mail. So be alerted to it. The other sticker that I got, it just made my heart really happy. It is from Camp Stitchwood, and they do national. The word is national parks, but instead of saying national, they say the word knit. So like national park stickers. Anyway, this one is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and this is from Clingman's Dome. So when I saw this, I recognized it immediately. There's so much beauty in the Great Smoky Mountains, and it can almost be like this ubiquitous beauty. But when I saw Clingman's Dome, which is like there's this walkway up here to this beautiful overlook, that immediately brought me to memories of my grandparents and my cousins, and when we finally were old enough as kids to do some of the tougher hikes and the longer hikes. And it just made my heart happy. It just went to this really sweet place. So you can see that the sun is a yarn ball, and there's some kind of knit pattern on the mountains back there. But this one had to come home with me as well. The last thing that I got that has nothing to do with yarn, it's from Both Hands on the Wheel Pottery. And this is a handmade pottery. Super, super sweet, adorable pieces. They weren't the only potters there. They did have some yarn bowls and things like that. But what I came home with was a gorgeous, happy little 7-ounce mug. I just love this thing. I have a couple of smaller mugs like this, and I really love the size of them. I think they're great for just a little bit of coffee or just a little bit of tea, and they feel really fancy and precious. This one, you see it's 7 ounces. It was a $25 mug, and in the pottery itself, there's cutouts that are then filled with glaze, and then the beautiful stamp here on the handle, the nice rest for your thumb. I felt like this was such a beautiful piece, and something that my husband has gotten in the habit of doing is I'll have tea in the morning, but he'll also make coffee, and he'll give me just a little bit, which I'll then fill up with milk to make like a cafe au lait. So this will be a mug that I can use for that kind of morning sweetness with my husband. Really beautiful, dishwasher safe, all that kind of thing. And kind of like when I did at the Fiber Festival last year, it wasn't just yarn people. I think I got a painting there last year. Having another art form too really makes my heart happy. And this particular little dandelion blowing thing, I think is absolutely adorable. Very, very sweet, very innocent, very pure. So I'm really glad that I got to bring that home as well. Oh, my favorite local yarny thrift store was there. And so we brought our donations, and they gave us some information about how they're going to have a yarn bombing coming up, so that'll be exciting. They also gave us a 25% off coupon for coming, which is wonderful, and then they had little gifts. So these are just some little felted wool balls. I thought those would be fun colors. I could add them into a garland or something like that, and they even kind of like go along with what I'm wearing today. So really glad to connect with them and hand over some yarn. Miss Janna-Kay also brought some donations. They had a raffle going on for like a gift card and a basket full of yarn. And yeah, I'll have to look into that yarn bombing because that would be a lot of fun. I've never participated in something like that, but I could even maybe bring my children to that. We could work together to like sew pieces onto different parts of the community, whatever. We'll see if that happens, but I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully it will be, a video in the future, my first yarn bombing. One thing that I did not find was yarn for my shawl swap partner. So I need to get on Hirschner's ASAP, or maybe Knit Picks, or maybe Little Knits. I need to get on that as soon as possible and make sure I have yarn coming so I can do that shawl. I do wish that I had found something for that. But since I didn't, that's going to be okay. I'm sure I'll be able to focus and bang stuff out, and I'll be able to complete that because today is only March 7th and I have until the end of the month to get it done and get it posted. So there was that little piece that I didn't find, but that's all right. We'll make it work anyway. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and commented and liked and supported this channel. Thank you for those of you that just came along to kind of see what all was there. Y'all, I didn't film everything. There was a sheep and some little lambs there I didn't even film. There were so many wonderful vendors that I just couldn't take video of all of it because I also wanted to enjoy myself and I didn't want to be too obnoxious. We did have a wonderful time getting to meet some people, getting to experience new fibers, getting to connect with others. And yeah, if you're ever interested in going to a fiber festival, I definitely recommend them. I think it was a lot of fun. I do think I made the right choice to go to this one and not the one in Nashville, just because as overwhelming as it felt to me, I can only imagine how next weekend in the city is gonna be wild. But not everyone's an introvert, so different strokes for different folks. I hope everyone has a great time that plans on going there as well. Do let me know in the comments if you've ever been to a fiber festival, and if so, how did you feel? Like, were you overwhelmed with it? Did you have a lot of fun talking to vendors and farmers and that kind of thing? Did it have a similar feel to this? Let me know what you think. I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. Yeah, thanks to everyone who spent some time with me today. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And if for whatever reason I'm not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I do appreciate you, and I do hope I'll see you again soon. Bye! Oh, my face, I've been smiling at strangers all day, yay!